Hello, hello. This is Navigating the Shift to Intuitives Talk. My name is Annabelle with a fly. Today.
I'm Sarah.
Yay.
Probably with a dog.
With a dog. Yeah, my fly is
Always
not quite as much fun. I can't pat it, but you can have more fun with your dog. And we are two intuitives talking about whatever subjects come to mind. And some of them are timely, things that are coming up that you might see in the news or see in the social media, and also timeless topics. And for this little video, we're going to do two today, so you'll see us in our pink for two videos. It's Valentine's Day here, so there's the pink. And that's also a fun topic we could get into, isn't there? All the whole issues around love and that kind of stuff. Not today.
Not today.
We got plenty to do today. So the one that I wanted to bring up today was this YouTube channel that was drawn to my attention. It's called Cosmic Energy. It's done by a Spanish woman, a young woman who's so full of enthusiasm now as she's gone along and learnt more. She has somehow come in contact with a Pleiadian through the internet, is what she says. So I'm assuming it might be through a forum or something. It feels like the conversations that she's having are written, which is great because it means that she can get an answer to her questions, and then she can really have a good think about it and then reply back and then get another answer. So there's these whole conversations that go on where this Pleiadian is teaching her about the Earth and a matrix that's being built around it to reduce it from 5D down to 3D as a way of capturing alien presence on the planet that were not meant to be here. And then how
like
those
negative ones,
greys, reptiles that they managed to hack the matrix, so to use it to their advantage. So how long they've been doing that, I'm not quite sure. But the system that set up that matrix, according to the source, is starting to fail. It had 4 power sources. Yeah, nuclear power devices. Now they're down to 4. It's getting weaker and weaker. And the lessons are not just about that, about why the moon doesn't spin. We're only always looking at one side of the moon. If it spun, you'd see all the rest of it, of course. So there's a reason why it's set that way. It's similar to what I've heard before, and the way that the way I feel about this woman is she's very genuine in that she seems to be getting more and more confident as she goes along. That the information makes a lot more sense to her. She asks very good questions, and she seems to understand it better and better as it goes along, and it's constantly pushing the message of empowering ourselves. Now that's big as well, right? Because sometimes you get people that are in touch with an alien, and the subtle message is that they're better than us, and so when they come to this planet, you better start bowing down, or there's a problem, but we solved it, da-na, da-na, da-na. So it's kind of like, and are we all meant to go, oh thank God, my hero? I really worry about those ones. Whereas this one is more teaching us we have the power in our minds. We are not limited at all. We've been taught this all our lives, that we are limited and there's only so much we can do, when in fact our mind and our imagination can take us anywhere and can free us from this matrix. Now, did you manage to see any? Yeah.
Historically, the systems that came in place with the church, where you can't have direct contact with your God, you have to go through a middleman, your minister or priest. And to me, the whole way prayer has been used, at least that I know about, is asking this, please, this something that's powerful, more powerful than me, please help me. As well as something I hear all the time, which is, I've been guided to do this, or, something bigger and wiser than me told me I should be doing this project, something like that. And that always made me kind of go cringe, because that's still giving something else more power. And the way I understand it is that in order to really affect this reality, you got to be in it. That's one of the rules of realities, I guess. So what we can do is we can ask help from the angels our extraterrestrial friends and family and all of that, but not to ask them to tell us what to do, but for us to make the choice and say, okay, you get to work on that. I've had a lot of success with that. The one that first comes to mind was I was doing property clearing for a client, and there was just a dark portal in the back of her property. I said, it's deep underground. She says, there's an old well back there. I'm like, well, that's doing something back there. And I said, okay, so the teams that are available to clear and close these portals, can you get to work, please? And I said, ask my client to make the same request and just watch them do it. So I don't have to go in and do it. But they couldn't do it until I asked.
Right. So there's the free will part, right? Yeah, it's up to us to choose.
And whereas I could have done it, I had confidence that I could do it. I just thought it would be easier to ask them to do it, quite frankly. I'm lazy, I guess. And I just didn't want to be that personally involved. But it was a good lesson also that I got when I used to, more than I do now, have conversations with Saint Germain, the Ascended Master.
Yeah.
And at one point, his response when I was saying, well, what do you think about that? He goes, God, questions. Saint Germain, what about this? What about that? Should I do this? Should I do that? He said, it's so boring. And he said, I'm going to talk to you when you want to talk about interesting things and not just ask me the same questions I had over and over again. And I was like, well, what do you want me to talk about? You know, it's like, what's going on in your life? I'm like, okay, well, you know, I've been doing this and that. And it was interesting that it was such a direct sort of, I'm so tired of having people beg me to tell them what to do. You know, just get over it. Step up. Take your own power.
Step up. That's it.
I am. A phrase that I use frequently and I suggest people use is, I am the most powerful being in my reality. And I want you to notice when you say it, even when you hear it, what comes up.
Oh, it changes everything. It makes you grow. That's what it just felt like to me when you said it.
It makes you grow, but it's going to, as it's growing, it's going to bump into things. What I just felt with some of the energy of that, what I've felt historically, is that people go, yeah, right. You know, there's that part, that's that programming that's told us as part of the matrix, as she describes it. Yeah, we are small and powerless. So each time you say that phrase, it can dig up stuff, and then you can look at it and use some of the tools we talked about. Is this true? We could use Byron Katie's method from Loving All That Is, her book. We talked about last week.
Yeah, we did.
Chesney, well, how do we know this is true? You know, that type of thing. Processing the emotions, because often the reason in order to make us feel powerless, there's often traumas involved.
And the news continues to push that, isn't it? Even if we don't have personal trauma, so long as they can get an image in front of us in a movie, on a screen, on your phone, any opportunity to put an image of violence picture's worth 1,000 words, and it can affect you instantly, can't it?
Yes. And it starts at such a young age, the trauma. Kids are getting hit, spanked, hit. They go to school and they're told to sit in their seats. I don't know, maybe that isn't a problem for everybody, but for me, that was traumatic. That hurt to sit there and listen and just absorb and memorize and be punished if you're not a good little automaton. And imagine how religions do it as well. A lot of punishment and threat. Now, trauma isn't necessarily physical.
Yeah.
Right. Shame. Yeah. Shame's their big one. Ooh, born in sin. God, how do you get away from that anyway? But trauma isn't always physical. It can be emotional trauma. Being told you're born in sin, you're a sinner from the uptick, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's traumatic to your soul, So
freeing ourselves
to your
from
personality,
that is the key.
right?
Yeah.
That's it. So I am the most powerful being in my reality.
I love it. I love it. This idea of it's self-sovereignty, isn't it? This is where I did an interview series with Jeffrey Rainbow Carl, who talked as well about self-sovereignty and us to realize that we are the ones that belong on this planet, not the visitors, and therefore we get to choose. Now, we talked about temptation. I don't know if that was last time or the time before. I'm sure there are opportunities for people to, sell their soul to the devil, really, if they get opportunities to. This is the impression that we're getting, is that in the past, ETs have come and said, we've got this magnificent technology that you can use to make the planet a better place to be, and we will give it to you, and they'll say, oh, do anything for that technology, and then they don't give it. They'll gain some massive amount of power to run a country or to run the banks or whatever, and then they won't share the technology anyway. So, asking assistance from visitors, it has to be in a benevolent way to yourself as well as to the planet, for everybody. And this is where this woman from Cosmic Energy is asking. She said, you with free will, you have so much that you can do, and she's asking us and encouraging everybody to make a little video, which asks for assistance in helping ourselves to free the planet from this 3D matrix, so that we can go up to 5D and live a whole lot easier than what we were doing before. So my suggestion was, let's do that today. We can do a little one, and I'll put a link in the comments of her video asking, and then and in the comments of her video, she's asking you to put the links to your videos. Does that make sense? So for each person to go and ask, please, ask, and then you put
and then
your
get them
link.
all connected up. I think that's
it.
a
She's
great
going
idea.
to put them all together. Yeah.
Okay, and also just one other thing that came to mind for me was, when we're asking them to help out, do it from the point of view of that they've been there and they've wanted to help because this is important for them and they can't do it. Right? They can't do this change, and they've really wanted it for a long time, but it's taken us being ready or willing to get to that place to say, okay, we're ready now. Let's do it. You guys help us. So that's, make sure we're staying in our power, in our sovereignty as we're asking.
Ready.
So who do you connect with that you'd like to ask?
I don't have any affiliations, I don't think, that I remember. I know that I do get the impression that once we move up into 5D fully and completely, I'll be like, oh, that's right. Oh my God, now I remember. Oh, my friends, woo! And be able to connect with them. At the moment in this current world where we are slipping between 3D to 5D, I'm not connected. What about you? You've got connections though.
So my understanding is that it's not that I come from Sirius or you come from Pleiades or whatever, because especially for those two locations, those are portals through which various civilizations around the universe travel to here. So, and often spend time there. So we'll have a lot of, if we had a pie chart, the biggest chunk of my pie is Syrian. And I have had connection or communication with them before, which was kind of fun. Looking at their spaceship up there, like, "Hi guys," and getting a mental communication back. How did you see us? We're hiding in a cloud. I'm like, oh, I just felt you there. So that's for them. So and then the other group that I'm really familiar with, lots of times because I have relatives who have a lot of Pleiadian energy and a lot of clients that connect with that as well. So like I said, they're kind of the two major players, I think, here as far as how much energy is that, because you come through there to get here. Okay. So let's ask them.
All right. So we ask Syrians, Pleiadians, and from me, on behalf of me, I'd like to ask all benevolent races who are close at hand and are focused on the planet at the moment to help us, assist us in freeing the whole world from this 3D matrix, and so that we can live as 5D beings in loving and connected to everybody around the planet as a single species, and open and willing to communicate with other benevolent races that are here.
Yeah.
What about you?
Turn us back to how Creator originally intended us to be. That 5D. I think that was the way the planet was supposed to be designed.
Yeah.
So that, I love that feeling, you know, and you said to transform the planet. So, transform the whole solar system. For whatever reason, there's lots of theories on this, lots of ideas. This planet is the center of the transformation of the whole universe. Our whole universe has been waiting to make a shift, all of them up, I guess you could say, up in a dimension or whatever it is. And for some reason, whatever's been happening here has been the thing that's held it back. Yeah. One person I read described it as, you can't be completely healthy with that one cancerous blob in there. I mean, I'm like, I don't really like being compared to cancer.
A cancerous blob.
But yeah, right? That was not their terminology.
No, I know.
The blob was mine, but yes.
Well, would you like to ask?
That was the energy of it. So
ask
for the transformation of, for the planet, for the solar system, for the galaxy, and the universe.
We are open.
So it is.
And so it is. Ready.
Ready. Now.
So you do one as well. Yeah, those who are listening in, you can also get in there and make your own little video and then connect into hers. You can watch her whole series and learn more from her. But on that one video that we're going to put in the links in the comments below, that is where you put the link to your video in her comments so she can collect them all together.
Yes. And the more people who do it, the more powerful it becomes exponentially. And we all want to do something. We know we're here to transform this planet. And like I said, I'm not in the white hat military. I'm not a politician. I'm not in those fields. This is what I do. And this is something everyone can do, is make this request and visualize it. Like you mentioned earlier, visualize the beautiful future that we are creating. Fantastic. And so it is again.
So it is. There it is.
Ta-ta.
Bye.